America, to the US, just for a trip. I didn't know that I'm going to actually stay in the US. But I liked it here, so I said, you know what, for the whole year, I guess I'm going to stay and just enjoy, just kind of look around. Maybe study something. I can tell you that because of one CD that Rabbi Zamir Cohen, that I think I picked it up in one of the restaurants in Queens. I think it was Life After Life. Growing up in a traditional Sephardic family, but really not knowing the truth,
Right.
like, maybe, doing Kiddush, but going to a club on Friday night, not knowing what is really a Jew, not knowing what is the deep meaning of life. This CD, I can tell you, really changed my life. This CD, since I watched this CD, I started to search deeper into Judaism. And I can tell you, someone told me about Hidabroot, about this website. And at the beginning, all my studies were done through this website. Later on, I met Rabbi Zamir Cohen in Israel. I looked for him. I saw him in one of the schools in Israel. I went to see him and just thank him for changing my life.
So you picked up this, you got this CD,
I just got a CD.
and you got it, and then you went online living here. We weren't even in Israel. You didn't even know about the television
My
station.
whole
Just
life, 34 years living in Israel, growing up in Israel, studying in Israel, graduating high school, academic degrees in Israel. I didn't know the truth. I just didn't know the truth. Coming out, outside of Israel, to the Galut, and finding out the truth here. It's kind of funny. I think it's even sad, because I was a student in Israel. I was a high school teacher in Israel, and I can tell you as someone that knew the system, the educational system from both sides, that the kids are really, the kids, you cannot even blame them for not knowing the truth.
So you knew nothing about Yiddishkeit. You knew nothing
knew
about Judaism.
Really minimal.
You were a Jew, that's
I
it.
knew I was a Jew. I didn't know even Jew, the word Yehudi, where it came from,
Wow.
I knew some minimal stuff, but not knowing the deep meaning of being a Jew.
Wow.
Didn't know the commitment, didn't know what Hashem's way. And first of all, I'd like to thank Hashem for, I don't know, I guess I have maybe zchut avot or something. I want to think so. For showing me the way, showing me the truth about life, and changing my life completely, 180 degrees.
Wow.
Since then, I want to tell you that I kept in good. I'm in touch with Rabbi Zamir Cohen. Every once in a while we speak on the phone. We email each other. I see him, and I'm really touched. This big tzaddik, this has really changed my life, and
Wow.
I cannot even thank him enough for that.
There are many, many stories like Ronan's story, whether people going on the internet or going on to the Hidabroot channel in Israel. But we need to bring back many, many more. Right now, call 877-HIDABROOT. Right now, 877-HIDABROOT, 877-443-2276, 877-443-2276, Hidabrootraffle.org, Hidabrootraffle.org. I'm being told it's just another few minutes. Another few minutes, please call right now. They're closing the raffle, so please call right now, 877-HIDABROOT, 877-HIDABROOT. And they're going to be closing the raffle in 1 minute or so. So please call right now, 877-HIDABROOT, 877-HIDABROOT. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
it's been a
much.
pleasure. I was glad to meet you. And Baruch Hashem, this is what Hidabroot is all about. And go out and call right now. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And hopefully we're going to be able to make many more success stories tonight by going out and raising all this important money that we needed. Okay, so make sure to call right now, 877-HIDABROOT, 877-HIDABROOT. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Wow, it's been a while. I think he's a few hours late. He was supposed to be on the air at 7 o'clock, and it's 11:38 at night. And he finally made it here. We woke him up there from his slumber. Rabbi Yitzi Erbs. Actually, we had a whole bunch of music. I was told that you do chazonos.
Oh yes, I have a very interesting character that I call him Chazen Beryl Kenternish.
Chazen Beryl Kenter. So before we hear from Chazen Beryl Kenternish, let me remind you to call 877-HIDABRUT, 877-HIDABRUT, 877-443-2276, hidabrootraffle.org, 877-443-2276, 877-443-2276. But before we get to Chazen Kenternish, Rabbi Blyer is going to just give us I know they kept the lines open.
Again, we need to have it. We have a big budget to cover, and we're going to keep open for another little bit because everybody who wants to have a part in this biggest Kiruv event, the biggest Kiruv thing. Somebody told me last week, I think it was, that since Moshe Rabbeinu's times, since the times of Moses, there was never such a big one Torah shir from 200,000 people. There was never such a thing, and it's the biggest chus to be a part of it. We need every $100. If you gave it $100, you give again. You can give again and again. And we need your help, and it's the biggest chus that to have a part in 200,000 people, and we need your help. The Penthouse raffle is very, very soon. You'll be the winner, and we really need your help. Itzi, what do you say?
I agree 100%. I mean, just having that person run on here before, I mean, that's, like, it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself.
I just remind myself of a story that I had that I met another person who does kiruv, and he was in kibbutz Ein Gezer, and a far-off kibbutz in Israel where no from people get there. So the person told me that this lady said that her husband, by mistake, found this channel.
Right.
And since then, he's sitting on the channel, and he's addicted to it and becoming firmer and firmer every day. She didn't know what to do.
No, Baruch Hashem. All I can tell you like this is that I understand is like, just like we see fire can be used to burn chas v'sholom down a house, or fire could be used to cook. And apparently, we have to recognize what the media is nowadays. And if we try to say, no, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, then you'll never win them over. But you have to reach them in the media that they're familiar with. And then, you control the fire. Like in this case, like you do that television program in Eretz Israel, and you reach them because that's the way they're going to see it. If you're going to tell them, come, we're going to go see a Rebbe now, we're going to come to a Tish, they're not going to come. You say, this program is a very interesting guy, is going to be speaking, then of course they're going to come, and they're going to watch it. And it's apparently, you ensnare them by doing that.
Yeah, now you remind me of that when the Hidabroot opened in the beginning, the Gedolei Yisrael, they were so excited with it. They said, one of the Gedolim said, for 50 years, we are trying to get into the house of the secular people. We're trying to get into their dining room to tell them what Yiddishkeit is all about. And we were never able to. Only when they came out, now we could come in. This is the biggest thing. This is bringing the Gula. The Gedolei Yisrael said that Hidabroot is bringing the Gula. It's just the biggest chus to be a part in this. This is Baruch Hashem.
100%. There's no question about it.
Every $100, every $120 there's also in the book, there's different partnerships. There's a partnership of even $250 for 12 months. That's every month, $250 for 12 months. You become a real partner in this big thing. And there's also free prizes, and it's also for $250. There's 236 raffle tickets. It's amazing.
There's no question about it. I have no doubt about it that it's possible to reach them in this media.
877-HIDABRUT, 877-443-2276, hidabrootraffle.org, the last moments of this amazing raffle, and then it's going to be another year until you hear us telling you to do this again. But don't wait. There are those procrastinators. Every time, there are people that procrastinate.
So 1 second, I have an idea.
Are you a procrastinator? You waited from 7 o'clock, you were supposed to be on. You come in for a few minutes, now you...
Yeah, I thought I was going to hop a nap. There's a beautiful couch over there. The only problem is, with such great music over here, I just couldn't fall asleep.
And so
But I just want you to know that since you mentioned that the next time it's going to happen is a year later, I would like to remind all of those who said that last year that they're going to do it next year, they should do it this year before next year.
Last year, this year, next year, now is the time.
Right.
Im lo yachshav, amos.
Amosai. No question about it.
Are we going to hear from Chazen? We're going to hear Chazen Kenter?
Yes.
Kenternish?
Yes. Chazen Beryl.
Well, before,
Kenternish.
Rabbi Blyer has one more.
I want to know how the phone call is going to look if you'll be the winner.
If I'm the winner, I'll be on a plane. The problem is, 1 second, you've got to figure out how to get there if I'm the winner. Maybe
you're taking the first plane?
Yeah, we'll go check out. So it could be you. You. It could be you right now. 877-HIDABROOT, 877-443-2276, HidabrootRaffle.org. Rabbi Erbs together with Chazan Kenternish.
Okay, now, I would like to introduce you. Now, I used to have a character called Chazan Beryl Kentenish. And I'm going to play the interviewer who's interviewing Chazan Beryl Kentenish. Shalom Aleichem, Chazan Beryl Kentenish. Please come on.
Hello there. How is everybody over here on Radio Hidabroot? I'm telling you, I'm a chazan for many, many years.
Oh, really? I mean, just listening to the way you talk, you're going to tell me that you're a chazan for many years? I mean, what type of voice do you have?
I have a voice like a tenor.
You have a voice like a tenor?
Yes. Ever since I was a little child, I sat in the choir, I stood in the choir, I sang in the choir, and they said I was a tenor.
Really? What do they mean by that?
They said when they heard my voice, I should say at least 10 or 15, 20 feet away from the microphone and not be heard. That's what they used to tell me.
Oh, I see. And since then you took voice lessons?
Yes, I took voice lessons. I'm very good now.
Really? Just judging the way you sound right now, I mean, I don't really think you could...
I'm going to do an old favorite, Yabana Bais Hamigdash. You're not going to believe that I can do this. I'm going to clear my throat first and get ready.
Oh, okay, so clear your throat and get ready.
All right. Ready?
I'm ready.
Are you sure you're ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready that I should be ready?
I'm ready that you should be ready.
Are you ready that I should be ready, that you should be ready, that I should be ready?
Are you going to do it or not?
I'm ready.
Could you start?
Yeah, I'm starting to clear my throat.
Would you please start it again?
Okay. A 1, a 2, a 3. So far I'm doing okay, eh?
So far you're doing okay.
Should I do that for another 5 minutes like that?
Just do the song.
All right, I'm doing the song. Don't interrupt me.
I'm not interrupting. You're interrupting yourself.
I never interrupt myself. I talk to myself, but I never interrupt. All right, anyways, here we go.
Sheyebone,
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 Sheyebone.
Sheyebone besamigdos. Oh, Evim Heirab Yomeyonu.
Say Chalkeinu.
Say Chalkeinu.
Say Chalkeinu.
This Hoerose. Oh, thank you very much, Chazan Beryl Kentenish. That was good.
Did I sing yet, or should I start? Which one? Rabbi Eilika, should I do the song already, or did I actually do the song yet?
I'm not sure, but they're telling me they're closing the raffle any minute.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I hope my family called in. They said they were going to do it.
Rabbi Erbs, did Chazan Kentenish buy a ticket?
That's one thing you could do. You could buy a ticket.
An orange one on your windshield.
Yeah.
We're going to be hearing Rabbi Erbs a little bit later on. We have another special guest coming on. But before we get to that special guest, we'll see you in a few more minutes.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
no problem.
Before we get to that special guest, Rabbi Blyer we're going to go through a few things that truth is, we neglected to mention. And I just want people to explain. And if you don't think yet that it's important because of this amazing work, and if you don't, but this is an opportunity, if you bought already, there's a whole point system. Now, Rabbi Blyer, you want to explain to us what this point system wins? I see they can win unbelievable prizes. These are guaranteed prizes.
Right, correct.
These are guaranteed prizes if you purchase a certain amount of tickets. Okay, so if you have the raffle, if you have the book at home, follow along. Page
40.
page 4. I have to find it. Page 40. Oh.
Anyone who wants to become a partner in the biggest thing, Hidabroot, of $36, only $36 a month, we have here Reb Chaim Kaniesi's Zgula wine.
Oh, so explain to me, you have here 22 points. 22 points, if you spend $36 a month, 36 times 12.
432.
Oh, he's a good guy. He knows his math. So for $432, you get
Or
22.
for just only $36 a month. You're
Right,
a partner
right, so the total.
with the biggest care, only $36.
That goes into the home.
Not so much.
Not
Plus,
so much into the home.
No, $36 a month. You get 50 chances to the
50
home.
chances to win the
big penthouse.
penthouse. And then you automatically get 22 points, which is worth.
You get to choose either a Chaim Knessi's Gula wine or a minion every day to say your name by the Kaisel every day. These are all for partners of Hidabroot partners.
There's a whole bunch of 22 points. A bucket of clicks, MP3 player, a
Or for just $36 partners, $36 monthly
just for
partners.
$36 a month for 12 months. That $36 a month doesn't make such a big dent on your pocket.
Right, and it makes a big thing for
So
Hidabroot.
all they go is they take it off your credit card and it makes a difference. We could end up in someone's home helping them. Just so you get for $36 a month, you get 22 points, and you can win any of these prizes. A toaster oven. I actually need a new toaster oven. Hello, okay, $36 a month.
Pull up
Right now, I'm on the air. So somebody call, here's my credit card, $36 a month. He's taking it already. $36 a month, and I need this toaster. We're going to take the toaster. Okay, so that's if you give $36 a month, you get 22 points. Oh, wow, there's a whole bunch of, we just didn't even, you have Rabbi Zamir Cohen's. By the way, this book, Rabbi Zamir Cohen, I just want to tell you, it's on page 42. When I think it was 2 years ago on Sukkot, I was in Reb Nissim's Sukkah, and he started, it was before the radio station was up, and Reb Nissim started telling me, and he showed me this book. And then when I became part of Hidabroot, that I started the Leil Shishi program on Thursday night, he gave me the book as a gift. That's one of my most cherished books. I look at it as always something interesting. I always look for something. If you need a moment, if you need to, and they have it in English, The Coming Revolution. I think the toaster oven's out the way, but I have it already, so we can still stick with the toaster. I have it already. But you could get this unbelievable book from Rabbi Zamir Cohen, Shlita. It could be yours for only 22 points, which means $36 a month. There's so many other books and programs if you want to cook, if you want to...
All this can be seen also online.
Yeah, if you go online,
Hidabroot.org.
But, Yossi Green CD, Hipsh. I mean, I think that's a collection of many of Yossi Green's and many other CDs here. Mordechai Ben David, Miami, Boys Choir, all Kinderlach, Baruch Levine. Wow, all for 20.
You can't lose over it. You can't lose over
This,
it.
I mean, if you give me
You become a partner.
but this, you get automatically these. It's funny they were talking about Benjamin Franklin before. There's a big picture of Benjamin Franklin. But if you automatically get for $36 a month, 22 points, call right now 877 Hidabroot, 877 Hidabroot, 877-443-2276. Let me ask you a question. So if they bought already for $36, if somebody bought, they automatically get these points, right? How does it work?
Right.
They get these, a coupon mail?
$36 a month, you get to choose online or the phone people, you get to choose a gift.
They ask you for what gift you want.
One gift,
Means
yeah.
if somebody called tonight and gave their credit card for $36 a month, the people had to choose.
Yeah.
Just choosing one of these amazing
Yeah,
gifts.
it's
And this is only for
very
22
hard to
points.
choose.
I'm waiting to see what happens by the higher points.
Yeah,
what gifts they get. Wow, just for 22 points, you get all this automatic stuff. So let's see. Wow, for 44 points, they get a bigger phone set. Or the
Again,
new.
but that 44 points means $50 for 12 months. But that's a partner of Hidabroot, only $50.
Only, it's not like it doubled in, even though it doubled in
260,000
points.
people every day.
Even though it doubled in points, it didn't double in the amount of dollars you have to give. Wow, so for $50 a month, you're getting 44 points.
Kindle e-reader.
Who?
Kindle e-reader, brother printer,
Oh,
all in one.
Brother printer. Very good. So these are for 40. And now we're going to move our way up here to 68 points. How do you...
That's $80 a month for 12 months. $80 a month.
I don't know who told you. You got to double the dollar amount to get double the amount of points, no?
Get Ami magazine.
Subscription. Listen, these are automatic gifts. If you give, you get. Besides for the mitzvah, besides for bringing back Yiddish in the Shabbos, we had Ronan here before. It was a great program tonight. Hearing a person say, I picked up a CD of Rabbi Zamir Cohen, and I am a Frum Yid today because of that CD, that moved me. It should have moved you as well. Go out, call right now, 877 Hidabroot, 877 Hidabroot. Rabbi Blyer, I hope they're holding the lines.
Yeah,
I hope they said they're not closing until you get back, right?
They're holding now the lines. Everyone should call now. There's a penthouse Yerushalayim with a stunning view.
And besides the free gifts you get.
Besides the free gifts, and as I said before, when Hidabroot opened up the channel, the way it was run was by a few people who understood the importance of the biggest kirv. They understood how powerful this is. And they were giving huge amounts of $1 million, $100,000, $400,000. That's how Hidabroot opened, and that's how Hidabroot opened up. After the recession, these people stopped giving it, and we couldn't close the lights. 264,000 people watching Yiddishkeit, Judaism every single day. We can't close the lights in such a thing. It was no fun. We got to go on anyway. We can't. The organization had 1,000 seminars, and the fund got lower. They made 500 seminars. But us, we just can't, 264,000 is too big of a number to just close the lights.
When you say 264,000 people, 264,000 people take their remote and turn
And watching
on
Yiddishkeit,
the Hidabroot
coming
channel.
closer
And
to
these are
Hashem.
people that have no shaykhs, people like Ronan, many people like him that have no shaykhs. They get and that turns them on, and they go and look for Yiddishkeit after that.
Exactly.
Come on, this is your time. This is your moment. 1-877-HIDABRUT, 877-443-2276. It's late in the night. We gave you a great program tonight. We had inspirational speakers. We had great music.
The lines are closing.
Lines are closing. Come on, let's get these lines going. Let's get the food.
Cash it in, give your donations. Every $100 makes a
Rabbi
difference.
Blyer, Rabbi Blyer, I'm sure you work in the phones out there. I'm here talking for a long time already tonight. Sometimes, they wish they had the mute button on me, right? But I'm not going to stop. I know you could turn it off, but don't, because there's still a lot more to come tonight. And your name might be the winner, so don't turn it off because I'm getting to you. Don't turn it off. Keep it on. Listen, watch. But go and call now, 877-HIDABRUT, 877-443-2276, HidabrootRaffle.org.
Hidabroot is very easy to donate over there. Just hidabroot.org, enter raffle. You have all the prizes there, all the pictures.
All these, so what's that?
Enter now.
After this show, I need a trip to Florida. How do I guarantee this? There's a guarantee. Usually you have raffles. They say the whole night talking, we're going to win 2 tickets to Florida, 2 tickets. Guaranteed. How much do I need to give to win the 2 tickets to Florida?
That's only a partner of $500 for 12 months.
$500 for 12 months.
A real partner.
And I'm guaranteed 2 tickets to Florida.
Yes.
I need that. He's like, after this show, I need the 2 tickets to Florida after sitting here all night, begging you, beseeching you, please call now, 877-HIDABRUT. We want the things, we want this station, we want this channel to move on, to go on. Now is your chance. If you're up now and listening and watching, I know you're watching to hear your name be picked out, but if you didn't buy a ticket, your name won't be picked out. So now is your chance. Please call right now. We have actually before we have another guest, few guests coming on. So I know they're waiting, and 2 very special people. They actually are hosts. So Rabbi Blyer, you go make sure they hold the lines. And
we're not holding it too long. We have to close it.
Okay.
In a few minutes, we're gonna have to close it.
So very good. So we have we have actually 2 more guests. If they could join me on the set here tonight. It's actually almost this morning. Very good. Rabbi Peretz B. Eichler, he's actually he's going on this side. Oh, no problem. It was supposed to be for me. See, they're taking away my sushi already. Look. Anyway, from the Simply Sushi, from the new gourmet glass, the old market reinvented. So, get closer to be able to. We're going into people's homes. We want them to enjoy, to see, be able to see. So you have Rabbi Peretz B. Eichler, who is, you actually do a show on Radio Hidabroot now with us. When is that? I think that's every Tuesday.
12 o'clock. And we'll be starting Bez Hashem on either Motzi Shabbos or Sundays with a kind of talk show.
Great. And we have Charlie Harari, noted lecturer, speaker, and I know you're making a lot of headways in the Jewish community. And it's a great pleasure to have you both here with us tonight.
I'll be here.
And so I guess we'll start. I'll start on this side. Start with this.
Start by you.
Yeah, I'm in the middle. Listen. So I know that you go around the world. You speak. Obviously, part of when you give lectures is to bring people closer to Yiddishkeit, bring them closer to Hashem, bring them closer to Judaism. First of all, my question to you, actually, this is to both of you, so you'll be able to. What made you, and why did you decide to go out and speak and inspire people and bring them back and bring them closer to Yiddishkeit?
I mean, at least for me, when I grew up, I went to yeshiva, and for me, as I grew up, there's a disconnect for me between the stuff that I did and how I felt about it. And I sort of never really said anything. And as I got older, and I went to Eretz Yisrael and I started learning a little bit more, I began to realize that Yiddishkeit is this system that gives you the best life possible. Yiddishkeit is not what you can do for Hashem. God's perfect. And the beautiful thing about being perfect is he doesn't need stuff. He doesn't need people just saying some words or doing some things. He's perfect. So what we do in Yiddishkeit is less of what we can do for Hashem, but more what we'll allow him to do for us. And so as I started to realize that, I started to look around and go, it's amazing how many people just don't know that at all.
Wow.
And the ability to sort of try to tell somebody just how amazing that is. how much Hashem loves you, but more importantly, what kind of life you can have here. I think this is what Kiruv is all about, and I think Hidabroot is doing it in such amazing ways, which is why, I mean, it's an organization that needs to be built and needs to be provided for and supported so that it can reach the world, as people realize just how lucky they are to be able to connect to Hashem.
And Reperetz, I know you do your program, and I listen many times, you know, and part of what you speak about on your program is bringing people, you open their mind to Emunah, you base it on the parsha, you base it on some personal experiences. I know you've had some personal experiences of your own, how you came to be where you are today, so maybe you want to share that with our viewers and listeners.
From Lakewood, actually. Well, to paraphrase an icon recently, it's halftime in America. Second half is about to begin. And one thing we all need to remember, we're in this together. The most important thing is to remember, don't drop the ball. Whatever you do, don't drop the ball. I think all of us learned a valuable lesson. Anybody who was aware of what went on this past week, hopefully people weren't watching it, but a person realizes that things are literally and figuratively not in our hands, and that Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the world, and that a person can make a catch 100 times, can make a business deal 100 times, and if Hashem doesn't want it to happen, it's not going to happen. But if he does want it to happen, nothing is going to stand in the way. I think my experience with Hidabroot, especially the radio station run by these great people here in New York, teaches you that Ein Davar Omed Lifnei Ratzon, nothing stands in the way. I'm using this as a preface to tell you that out of all the speakers here tonight, including Mr. Hari, who I really admire, one of the speeches which he gave Charlie on, there's no fallback position. Sometimes you just have to go and give it everything you got without anything to fall back on. That was kind of my situation years ago, way back before sushi was just called bait. That's how far back I go. It was right after Grant took Richmond. But I really have a tremendous accursed tug to the Belzer institution, which really I think is behind Hidabroot.
Right.
But this was long before anybody got involved with the media. In fact, it was just about that time I remember I was thinking about giving up my television set. There was a commentator named Gene Shepard, and he said his television set just blew up. He figured out what it was. It was suicide. And I think at that time, I was involved very much in the media. I did my graduate work in radio, television, and film. I studied karate with a karate instructor who was probably the toughest karate instructor in New York at that time, preparing myself to go into the Israeli army. And why am I telling you this? One of the reasons is because when I went to Eretz Israel, I was acting with an English language theater company. Now, I just want to preface by saying that it's not a mitzvah to go and tell everybody what a person's past was and what you did in the past. And I don't want to get into that, but I just want to give you an idea of how somebody who came from zero background in terms of commitment to Yiddishkeit can take the next step forward. Now, it doesn't mean I didn't have any background. I mean, we went through the gefilte fish and chopped liver syndrome, all of that. I went
The
through
bagels.
Yeah, bagels and lox and the Hillel and the whole thing like that. My Reform rabbi didn't want me to wear a yarmulke, did not even want me to wear tefillin. But what happened was, when I was acting with this English language theater company, I stopped a fellow on the street and asked him if he could tell me how to get to the theater. He was a Belzer Custard who spoke perfect English. He was from America, so I guess his English was pretty good. And he introduced me to somebody who was a one-man Kiruv team, a man named Mordechai Zitzal. Anybody from Bnei Brak will know who he was. But the point was that he looked at me, a young American kid. You can never believe that I was young at one point. Now I'm a grandfather, Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
But at that point, I had studied karate for a year, made television commercials with the top people in the field, studied karate for a year to get ready to go into the Israeli army. Here I'm ready to go for a performance in Israel. I meet this Belzer Chassid, and he tells me how to get to the theater, which I was surprised that he even knew where it was. It was right around the block from his yeshiva. And he says, come back, you know, when you finish the course of the play. 2 months later, we finished the run of the play. I had an agent that was ready to go into production with they were casting what they call an existential Western. I have no idea what that means, but that's what they told me it meant. I guess maybe, you know, the good guys were black and the bad guys were white. I don't know what it was. Any rate, I come back, and they're sitting around this table, and it must have been shalashudas. I just wanted to let him know that you don't have to be religious to keep your word as a Jew. I just wanted to get it off my chest and say thank you very much. He sits me down with this rabbi, this from Mordecai. This Mordecai looks at me and he says, America is a right mental hospital. And I said, what do you mean? You never set foot out of Eretz Yisrael. What do you mean it's a mental hospital? He says to me, he says, don't worry, I've seen plenty of the patients. So I said, well, what's that got to do with me? You know, I'm going into the Israeli army. I'm going into my profession. He says, what's the big deal? Tefillin, kosher, Shabbos. I thought I was going to pass out right on the spot. You have to remember, I trained. You wouldn't know it by looking at me now. But with this top karate instructor for a year, just getting into shape. And one day when we were we used to fight full contact. I mean, really full contact. You know, the last guy standing won. If he didn't get kicked, of course. Anyway, one day he knocks me out cold. I'm on the floor. He says, get up, get up, get up. I said, I can't get up. I said, that's it, I'm finished. He said, you're not finished. He said, you're going to Israel. You're a Jew. You got to fight. Get up. When I was sitting there with this belts of chassid, going into a cold sweat, of course, all he did was say, kosher, tefillin, and Shabbos. I kept thinking, get up, get up, get up. Okay, now I'm just going to come to the denouement. So I'm going to skip a number of years. Okay? When I left, because I left like in the middle of the night, I just said, this is it, went into a cold sweat. He gets hold of me the next day and he said, do one mitzvah right, buy yourself a pair of tefillin. I said, tefillin? My Reform rabbi told me I didn't have to put on tefillin. I thought it was just a bar mitzvah thing. He says, oh, a Jew puts it on in a life. Do it right. He said, and I'll get you a pair of tefillin. He says, this is all it costs, and I'll help you with it. The next day, I get a letter in the mail from my brother, and this was in November. Okay, and he says, happy birthday. I know your birthday is in August, but I'm giving you this present now. Use it as for anything that you want. And I picked up the check, which was sent to me, and I look at it, it's the exact amount that the tefillin cost. I just take it and say, here, buy, thanks. Checked out, went to Yerushalayim, and I met some friends of mine. And they were trying to tell me, what are you doing? Hasidim, they're all sorts of Twilight Zone stuff. I said, well, the guy bought a pair of tefillin. I said, well, there's a guy down the block. He goes to yeshiva. They show you to put it on. That was Or Sameach. And that started the ball rolling. I can only tell you that a number of years ago, those tefillin were stolen from me in Lakewood, New Jersey. That in itself is a whole story, how they were done. They were found on a drug bust.
Oh, my God.
I recently interviewed the cop that found them. How did you find these tefillin? Okay, I announced to somebody in the store, I said, my tefillin were stolen. You can imagine the flashback, Charlie, 20 years before, thinking about what all those tefillin meant to me sentimentally. Any rate, they tell me that this cop found it. How did this cop find it? He calls me down to the station house. He says, Mr. Eichler, I have no way to describe this to you, but to tell you that it was miraculous. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, I was on a drug bust, and I only take the drugs. I don't go take religious articles, but I knew this had to belong to somebody in your community. So I took it. I never, ever walk from the crime scene to the station house. I always take my car. This one day I decided to walk. These two Jewish kids come out and they say, hey, we know who that belongs to. And I called you down here. I had no other way but to tell you that it's miraculous. I call my brother. I say, hey, you're never going to believe this, how I got my tefillin back. They were stolen, da-da-da. He says, hey, Paris, that's really interesting. Remember when you came back from Israel, you told me I should put on tefillin because that Reform rabbi we had told us that we didn't have to put it on, and I'm a lefty, and we went out and bought a pair of tefillin. He said, I hadn't put them on. But this past week, I couldn't find them. I wanted to put them on, I couldn't find them. And all of a sudden, the first day of Hanukkah, they just appeared out of nowhere. I want you to know I put them on because of you.
Wow.
Okay? The person doesn't know. Goal al Hashem dakecha b'takav lahu yaseh. The goal is not to get the football across the goal line. The goal is to get us across the goal line. Goal al Hashem dakecha b'takav lahu yaseh. Trust in Him, He'll take care of it. Like Rachmil Milstein said, you can't make people frum. You can just take those first baby steps.
Plant the seeds.
And plant the seeds. And I can tell you that I'm one of those seeds that blossomed into whatever I am today.
If you want, there are many stories like this that Hidabroot actually touched. This is a personal story, and there are many stories that Hidabroot itself, the station or the channel in Israel that people, or the internet, that people actually got turned on to Yiddishkeit. It was always that one thing, that one seed. I'm sure you also have many stories of you've been in people, so maybe you could share some of your thoughts with us too. Tonight. And again, remind people to call 877-HIDABROOT, 877-443-2276. The last moments of this amazing raffle, you can win this amazing prize.
And even though I did go into the raffle, you can still join. It's okay.
Hey, listen, we want
That
somebody,
we encourage you.
we want somebody great to win, and if you give and you buy a ticket, you're a great person. So go, last minute chance to buy. It's your
What's the
chance.
number again?
877-HIDABROOT, 877-443-2276.
So I mean, I've got an interesting. I thank God that when you go out and you try to teach in any way that you know how, you get a lot of stories because people are interested. But I guess I'll share one in this hour. I remember when I was in one of the firms that I was working for, we had this tradition that when someone would leave, the executives would come around the bend and say goodbye. So we're sitting around. One of the guy was leaving. He was a very waspy guy, an older fellow, and he comes up to me and he sits down and he says, Charlie, I want to say goodbye. So I said, sit down. He goes, why? So I said, give me some advice. So he goes, advice? I don't know what kind of advice you want. Anything. You're at the end of your career. I was a young guy. I'm at the beginning of my career. So I'll never forget, he looks back and he says, if I were you, this sounds a little crazy, but if I were you, I would institute in my house what I call an unplugged day. I said, excuse me? He's like, an unplugged day. Just try for one day to just unplug from the world. He's a non-Jewish guy. Unplug from the world. Turn off the phones, no computers, take a walk. I'm like, Rick, you know that I'm an Orthodox Jew. He's like, yeah, I know. No pork, Diet Coke. I'm like, is that an expression now? He's like, yeah, I know we've been together. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I do this. He's like, what? I'm like, this. He's like, unplugged day? I'm like, yeah. He's like, your family does unplugged day? I'm like, my people do unplugged day. He's like, man, you just think of everything. I'm like, whoa. And I'll never forget, I was sitting there and he was like going crazy. I'm like, you ever hear of Shabbos? He's like, no. I'm like, Shabbat? He's like, no. I'm like, the Sabbath? He's like, oh yeah. He goes, isn't that when you Jews go to temple before you go golfing on Saturday? I'm like, no, it's a little different.
Unfortunately, that's something to do.
Right. So I was sitting there and my intern was a wonderful Jew who wasn't yet interested as much in Judaism as other people are. So he's sitting there, he interrupts the conversation. He goes, no, Charlie. He goes, stop. He goes, Rick is talking about, warm food, lights on, I'm like, what are you getting at? He's like, I went to Hebrew school. He's like, I know that on Shabbos you can't cook, you can't put on the lights. He's not talking about eating cold food in the dark. I'm like, you think I eat cold food in the dark every day? He's like, yeah. I'm like, really? He goes, I'm like, you're coming for Shabbos. He said, you can't do that. I'm like, yes, I can. I'm your boss. He goes, it's against the law. I'm like, I'm the lawyer for the company. I am the law. This is called extreme kiruv. Don't try this at home. So he comes over for Shabbos, and he sits down, and I know what he's in for. He has no idea what he's in for. He sits down, finally. We go to shul. I go to this great shul where we're hopping. He's like, why is everyone so happy? I'm like, just wait, my friend. He sits down. My wife comes in. I'll never forget. The fish comes out, and then after the fish, you get the salads, and then come the meal. And it's this chicken and the meat, and God forbid you have one cook, you need two kugels, a sweet, a sour, 2 chickens, 3 chickens, 4, the whole plate's full, and his eyes are like bugging. And after the meal is over, he sits back and looks at me and goes, that was the best meal ever. And I'm like, wait for dessert. He goes, there's dessert? I'm like, oh yeah. You have to have chocolate on Shabbos. If you don't have chocolate, you're over some Isser for sure. And that's the rule on Shabbos. You have to ultimately be eating. And then and then the dessert comes out. And finally, after the dessert comes out, he looks at me and goes, that was amazing. And then of course the rule on Shabbos is that you have to be eating more than you're breathing. So my wife brings out the nash, and then he goes to the table, I check up on him, and finally he's in his room, and I look at him and he goes, Charlie, goes, you guys have Thanksgiving every single week? So I said, wait for tomorrow. He goes, there's a tomorrow? So, can I finish my story?
We just want to remind everybody,
Very important notice.
Well, you'll finish the story.
That's it. The donation line is going down in 8 minutes. 10:22, the donation line is going down. Everything is closing. 8 minutes to join the raffle, and that's it. Right after that, Emet Hashem, tune in for the drawing very, very soon. Meanwhile, we have here Charlie Harari, and a lot of entertainment here meanwhile, but the line is closing in exactly 8 minutes. At 10:21 and a half, 10:22. It's line is
10:21
closing. The donation
and a
line
half.
is turning off.
Remember.
That's it. Now is the time. Now is the last
877
minute.
Hidabroot, 877-443-2276, 877-443-2276.
Call now, 877-443-2276, online right now, the next 4 or 5 minutes. That's it. Hidabroot Raffle.org. Take some time until the donation goes in, until you type it in. So now you have to start typing now if you want to have it in. That's it. The penthouse could be yours.
In moments. You wouldn't mind having that.
I would like the penthouse, actually. That's why I'm here. I'm getting it.
Anyway, so you want to finish out your...
Yeah, so
That's it.
So
8 minutes. 8 minutes.
8 minutes. 7.5 minutes now. It's going to close in a half. Don't forget that. You don't know when it's going to close. Let me finish the story. Basically, here's the concept. At the end, I walk into his room. He looks at me and goes, Charlie, he goes, you guys have Thanksgiving every single week? I said, wait for tomorrow. He goes, is it tomorrow? So we came back to the office. He walks in. He goes, I don't understand something. He's like, when did Shabbat become awesome? I'm like, it's always been awesome. He's like, since when? And at that moment, his entire view on Shabbos just changed.
Wow.
And it hit me that here is a Jew who had never experienced Shabbos. And anyone who's experienced Shabbos, you understand just how awesome that experience is, just how much food we can consume in 25 hours, and how enjoyable that experience is. He had no chance. Not that he chose it and he went away from it. He had no chance. And that, I believe, is what we're all about. I think this is what Kiruv is and Hidabroot is really all about. And the lines are going to close, so you got to make sure that you're going to donate.
877 Hidabroot, 877-443-2276, or Hidabroot Raffle.
4 minutes exactly. Only 4 minutes to
How's it
enter. The
quick? 4
lines are
minutes?
closing, and that's it.
Well, your story felt it was
It was
quick.
quick 4 minutes.
Well, you say a good story.
Don't ever tell stories at the end of a raffle. That is the rule. It's just not going to go. Just, if you got to tell a story, go up earlier on, because you got to, how many minutes we got left? 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
Well, rather, you could, after
Not
they
yet.
close the lines.
3.5 minutes. You don't want to lose them a half minute.
Listening over here after we close the lines to
Don't want to drop the
Charlie.
half minute.
Life is unpredictable. Eat dessert first.
And make sure, don't eat. It's not Shabbos. Go straight to the lines.
You know, when I was teaching...
3.5 minutes. Quickly, 877, just call now. 877, just call now.
443-2276, 877 Hidabroot. Actually, I just do want to say, it's a new program on Hidabroot Radio 97.5.
Yeah.
Charlie, all right, so tomorrow at 6 p.m., every week for 1 hour,
No,
you
no,
can hear...
starting next week.
Sorry, next week.
Next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
not tomorrow?
tomorrow's gonna
They're
be
keeping
shit.
you up too late tonight.
That's it, I'm out.
Okay,
I need a sick day after this.
I don't know, I have to do my program tomorrow night. We'll see what happens.
Thursday nights at 6, Mitzvah Shem.
Start. So
3
right
minutes.
now,
It's already 3 minutes.
877 Hidabroot.
That's it. The lines are closing right
lines are
now.
closing.
Closing.
I'm sure you have a good closing story to tell us. To inspire us.
The penthouse. The
Penthouse could be yours.
can't have
Just
better
moments
stories
away.
than Penthouse.
Actually, the lines are closing, so please call now. 877 Hidabroot, 877 Hidabroot, 877-443-2276.
And you can take my friend, who's now becoming more from, to the penthouse when you win. Don't forget that.
Actually, if you get that, that's actually, if you go to the penthouse, you could be in touch with Hidabroot, bring people and be Makar, do Kiruv in Eretz Yisrael. 264,000 people, 264 viewers a day are counting on you to support the amazing work. 877 Hidabroot,
1 minute and a half. A minute and a half.
I'm excited. I'm not even on the line.
2276, 877-443-2276, 877-443.
Hidabroot Raffle.org now, the last chance. The last
227.
minute.
Last minute.
HidabrootRaffle.org.
I'm so excited. I'm nervous. I'm sweating.
The raffle is
my
taking place
gosh.
very, very shortly. The minute the line closed, you get a few minutes to some more
Don't
entertainment.
forget to tune in to Hidabroot Radio.
97.5 FM in Brooklyn, on RadioHidabroot.com, and Hidabroot in Israel doing unbelievable work. Last moments. We want to do a countdown until the lines close?
I would think so.
Yes.
I would think so.
Yes.
Let's talk about the
Hidabroot,
Florida tickets.
877 Hidabroot. This is really the procrastinators of all procrastinators. I'm sure you've met
I don't
many of those.
procrastinate. I answer the phone before it rings.
So, but if you didn't buy it, now's your
This is
time.
your chance.
877 Hidabroot, 877-443-2276. Half a minute.
12:18 now. Exactly 1 minute.
Wow. We just gained a minute.
Said we will tell
This is
21
the
and a half.
last minute. This is really the last minute.
Mamish, if you're a procrastinator, anyway, this is the final push, and then we'll have...
Very
Yeah.
soon will be the penthouse raffle live right here.
In 1 minute, if you're watching, the balloons are going to come down. That's it. This
At
is
your
this is
in the
it.
penthouse.
Rabotai, also, on a note of seriousness, we should all be davening for Rabbi Yasher, that it should have refuah shlema. Bez Hashem, we do in that penthouse. We know that we're going to make a big simcha rabbah when we're over there together, Bez Hashem.
That's
Amen.
right. That's right, 100%. So call right now, 877 Hidabroot, 877-443-2276. Rabbi Blyer. Are we still
That's it. I think.
Countdown. We have to have a countdown.
a countdown, and then you'll
I
you'll
would
say
say-
another inspirational story because we sorry we cut you off.
That's
in the
okay.
middle
That's
of
what
the-
happens when you go
That's
into
what
3
we're here
minutes.
for. You know, but then you have time.
nachas, it's
The
okay.
nachas
After it's
until
over,
they
I hope
come.
people are
'Cause we could
sleeping.
announce